This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user C++2017. I, male 27, am suing my brother, male 41, and my girlfriend, female 23, wants me to disown my parents too. Is she right? Quick side note, OP deleted his original post and I was not able to recover it. This next post I'll read is a reconstruction I made from OP's summary of his original post, plus information I found in the comment section of that deleted post. Now let's begin. After I got a degree in computer science, my brother and his two partners recruited me to work during one summer for them. They wanted me to set up their infrastructure for their new company in finance and investments. In retrospect, I should have known better since my brother and his partners tried to raise outside capital, but nobody trusted them after meeting them. I was the only a-hole who was dumb enough to work for them, even though I didn't trust them. Anyway, one summer turned into 2 years of free work as a secretary, receptionist, systems tech, personal assistant, accountant, research analyst. They paid me about 4 or 5 times, totaling about $7,000 to $8,000 in 2 years. When I left to start grad school, they were mad that I wouldn't stay. When I finished grad school and put them on my resume, they lied to prospective employers about me. They denied I worked for them and said I was trying to use my brother's name to get ahead. They also accused me of visiting their office and sexually harassing female employees they never even had. I called them to ask about it and they, including my brother, just laughed about the whole thing and said I was getting what I deserved. Kind of like, it's what you get when you live with us. So I had to sue my brother and his partners for slander and other things. My brother called me to laugh about the lawsuit when they got served, but now they're scared, and my brother has my dad pressuring me to drop the lawsuit and just sit down with them both to work something out. I'm not taking my brother's calls anymore, and my dad has totally taken my brother's side and blames me for tearing the family apart, so I'm pretty much left with no choice but to cut him off. My dad sees it as me threatening my brother's success. But he also thinks that it was not only me helping my brother, but also them, my parents, helping my brother as he started a new business. He figures since they allowed me to live at home rent-free for 2 years while I worked for them, they have a right to make some decisions as to how this conflict should be resolved. The worst part is that my dad called this just a little big brother bullying little brother nonsense and demanded I drop the lawsuit. He and my mom uninvited me to Thanksgiving at their house, but my mom pretty much tried to stay out of it. I could tell this was hard for her. My counselor and some other people from school, including my headhunter, helped me get a job. They went out on a limb for me, that's for sure. I mean, really, they only knew my side of the story. For all they knew, I could be lying. But they used their judgment and vouched for me, and I'm not going to disappoint them. I'm going to make sure that in the future, if they want to vouch for another student who could use the benefit of the doubt, that they look back on me and know that their trust was well placed. The same goes for my employer for taking the chance on me. He was very sympathetic since he had a similar experience where a past employer tried to destroy his reputation. He knew pretty well what I was going through. As far as my brother slandering me, my dad says it was probably the other 2 guys just getting carried away. But I know my brother himself took part in that. One of my current bosses personally spoke to my brother during the first interview process when I was denied the job. One thing is to deny I worked for them, that's bad enough. But then to go the extra mile and accuse me of sexual harassment, that was a bitter pill to swallow. That was the embarrassing question to have to answer at job interviews. I always knew my brother was a bit of a narcissist, I just didn't know the extent of it. Because of the age difference, I didn't associate with him much. I think what happened here is I truly believed I was helping my brother for one summer and it quickly turned into 2 years. I knew they would be mad when I left. I knew after a few months that all 3 of them were complete narcissists. I also thought they would hate me for leaving because they relied on me so much to keep the company operating. I knew they would have to hire 5 or 6 people to replace me, and that's not an exaggeration, so I knew they would be mad. After that first year, I knew that this would end up badly between me and my brother, but I could have never guessed it would be this bad. That's why I decided to go and apply for grad school. Sure enough, when I finally left, all 3 of them were really pissed at me. They had not 1 ounce of gratitude for the 2 years of free labor, but I never guessed they would slander me like that once I tried to get a job. Especially because when I was still in grad school, they would call me to come in on weekends and work for them. But by then, I was waiting tables at a restaurant near the school, and I had a couple of close friends who pretty much shook some sense into me, because I actually considered going back to help them part-time while I finished school. I guess I should have seen more of this coming, but I was honestly completely and utterly blindsided by them slandering me and making up the whole sexual harassment BS. As narcissistic as they are, and I've never met more narcissistic people, I truly was shocked that they came that hard at me and showed absolutely no compassion. One thing about my brother and his partners: when they started their business, all three of them stole client lists from their former employers. Of course, they were afraid to get sued, so they gave me the lists to keep in a laptop and encrypt the files so that they could access them only when they needed to call the clients and make appointments. I still have the laptop and the files. They think those files were destroyed. I haven't given them to my attorney yet, but if I do, they lose everything, including their license. They would be sued by their former employers and would literally be homeless. I'm trying to be compassionate because they have children, but my girlfriend is really pressuring me to go for it all and crush them. I almost wish I hadn't shown her the files. Anyway, the case was filed 4 months ago. It probably won't be all settled for a long time, but I'll update as soon as that happens. The way things look now, they want to settle as soon as possible, but my attorney is holding out. I think it's gonna get messy. Too bad for my mom, cause I feel really bad for what this must be doing to her. I look at pictures of me and my family when I was a little kid, and I can't believe it has come to this. My girlfriend is worried about me, but sometimes when she thinks about how it all went down, she loses it and just wants me to have no mercy. Okay, so like I said before, what I just read was a reconstruction of OP's original post to the best of my abilities from the information I had available. So now we'll go through a couple of community comments from that post, and then we'll move on to the first update. Tibuti later says, "Personally, I would destroy them. They had no, and I mean no, qualms about absolutely wrecking your life. You must be a truly hardworking person for all those people to go to bat for you and try to help you. You definitely deserve it. Your father is wrong, your brother is wrong, and your mother is caught in a bad place. She has to live with your father. I personally would continue contact with your mother, but nothing more serious than a couple of phone calls a month until she supports you. I don't know what exactly you plan to get out of the lawsuit, but I would suggest only settling when all of your terms are met. Do not sit down with your brother unless your attorney is present. Treat this as a business transaction, and once it is over, cut all ties with him. Give any and all information to your lawyer that would be pertinent for you to win your case." Mystery Mans says, "In your place, I would destroy these bastards. They're obviously very nasty people, and you've got enough on them to drive them out of business. I think you should do it. As for your parents, tell them to stay out of this matter, because if they decide to choose a side, you are prepared to cut them out of your life." Choose Not To says, "Whatever you decide, I hope you don't let this cause a rift between you and your girlfriend. She just seems like she's very protective and hates seeing you be taken advantage of. If there is a chance that you having and knowing about those files could put you in legal trouble, in your place, I would definitely want to tell my attorney about it for that reason alone." And OP responds, "Regarding my girlfriend, I'm probably gonna marry her, so I'm giving her feelings on this a lot more weight, but she is way more decisive on this than I am. Also, I don't think I can get in trouble for having those files. I asked somebody who knows the industry well, and he says the banks would not give an F about me. They would just sue their pants off. The person who told me that works for a big national bank as a financial advisor in one branch, so you would think he would know, but he's not an attorney." Okay, so now that we've got all that information, let's move on with the first update. As I said in my previous post, I had a laptop that contained lists of clients that my brother and his partners stole from their respective employers before they left to start the company. I didn't want to turn those files over to my attorney because things are bad enough for them already. My girlfriend had a different opinion. She wants me to just absolutely let them have it and crush them. I called my attorney and told him I had those files and dropped them off at his firm. The very next day, I got a call from his firm saying that my attorney needed to see me right away. I went in and he said that the files would be turned over to the US Attorney's Office, so it's out of our hands now. But he really wanted to talk to me about my parents. He spoke to my dad and basically said that my dad is a world-class prick. He's going to subpoena both my parents to testify at a deposition and probably at a trial if we make it that far. He wanted me to prepare myself for what they might say about me. He made it clear there is no turning back now. I didn't pay anything for my attorney to take the case. They took it on contingency, so his firm is very financially invested in this now. Basically, they're calling all the shots. I think my attorney thinks I'm weak or that I'll want to back off or take it easy on them. He actually told me that he knows my family would weaken me. I think he underestimates me. Anyway, he told me to just brace myself for the heat my dad will bring on me. I told him I had 2 older sisters on my side and my mother was pretty neutral. He assured me that my mother is absolutely not neutral, so he just told me to prepare for anything. I got phone calls from my 2 sisters who both live about 300 miles away. They were disgusted with my dad and my brother's behavior and had told me they were 100% behind me. Now, they told me that my girlfriend and I are uninvited to go see them and their children this Christmas. They told me they loved me, but that I needed to back off of this lawsuit. This was a little bit of a shock. It didn't crush me, but it wasn't easy to hear. They won't be contacting me anymore and want me to not contact them as they said they have their reasons. They both cried when they called, but I stayed calm. They also emailed my girlfriend to let her know about being uninvited to their homes for Christmas. My girlfriend blasted them both with a very scathing response that I wish she hadn't sent, but it's her decision how she responds to them. My dad is getting a little out of control. He confronted me and my girlfriend outside the house of a family friend who had us over for a holiday get-together. It got heated, and I said some things that were probably below the belt and made him almost cry. His eyes watered and he was trying to not cry. Then, my girlfriend jumped in and blasted him like she did my sisters. My girlfriend is very mild-tempered, with no bad temper at all. But this has been an ongoing thing and she seems to have been pushed to her limit. I don't blame her. She's not disrespectful at all, but she calls them out, and she seems to think long and hard before she actually says what she's going to say, cause the things she said came out in a very organized way. Very brutal, but very calm and organized with her thoughts. Basically, she's on a roll right now. I can tell the gloves have come off for her. And by the way, my family and my brother's partners don't even know I turned over those files yet. It's going to be a long time before they find out. That's up to the proper authorities to contact them in due time. It's way too soon for them to even know about that. My family's reaction has nothing to do with me turning over stuff that could lead to a criminal investigation. This is all about the lawsuit. What I'm finding out about my brother through my attorney is worse than I ever thought. Not paying me and slandering me was just what I knew about. But now we know there was other stuff, like fraud against me and others that I didn't know about. Serious tax violations also against me and the IRS. And some identity theft where he used my name on some documents that I clearly didn't sign or even know about. The more they dig, the worse it gets. At some point, it's almost easier to just tell them to stop digging. Let's just go with what we have. I know one thing. I was very lucky I left them when I did. Otherwise, I may have been dragged down with them. Oh, one other thing. My attorney said my brother and his partners closed doors on their business already. They went under. They have filed some puzzling and contradictory responses to our lawsuit, which surprises me because my brother is smarter than that, usually. They have now changed attorneys and retained a reputable firm. The first thing the new attorneys did is ask what it would take to settle. My attorney says their new attorneys are smart. They know it will be a bloodbath in court. I guess I will just have to wait and see where it goes from here. But some of you commented from experience that the blowback from legal battles like this tears families apart for decades sometimes. I can see how this can happen and probably will. Additional information from OP's comments. Every time I think to propose to my girlfriend, something new goes to crap with this whole situation. I would like to propose when things aren't so emotionally charged and when the dust settles a bit. Her sister is in the loop and is very supportive. She knows my family and is not surprised by my dad, but in total shock about my sisters. My girlfriend vents to her dad and he supports her, and he's a good dad. He's never brought this whole lawsuit situation up with me. He'll just make comments to me when he sees me like, "I'm really sorry things are hard for you. Are you okay? Be strong. You can do this." and other stuff like that, but he hasn't directly asked me to fill him in on anything. As far as what I said to my dad, I can't list everything, but here's some of it. I reminded him about cheating on my mom long ago. He didn't think I knew as much as I did. I reminded him how the other woman kicked him to the curb as soon as she found out he didn't have as much money as he pretends to. I told him that it's pretty bad when even that piece of crap lady that slept with you only did it cause she thought you had more money than you did. Oh, and I told him it's pathetic that he had paid for sex, but all the money he had wasn't enough to keep that floozy around, and how my mom only took him back because he threatened to ruin her financially and take the kids. I told him he's always using his money to buy support from people. I told him that I knew about his DUI 20 years ago when he gave the cops his late brother's name because he had a traffic warrant and was afraid to go to jail. How his brother took the rap for the DUI for him. I said he treated his dead brother like crap with absolutely no respect, and he just went on with his life like it was no big deal. Then I called him a piece of crap for doing that. I asked him what kind of man does that. I forced him to tell me what kind of man does that. I asked him like 5 times until he said he made a mistake. I chuckled and said, "What did mom ever see in you?" I told him mom must have been in pretty desperate financial ruin to agree to marry him. I told him that I was taken advantage of by my brother because I was weak and I thought it was because I was too much like mom. But now I know that I was a weak shell of a man with no conviction because I used to be just like him, except that I didn't have money to buy support for my shortcomings like he does. In response to him telling me that I would find out what it's like to be really alone if I keep up with this lawsuit, I told him I'd never be alone because I'm not him. I can be broke and still have friends and people who love me. Then I pointed out to him that he has not one friend, not one. He only has people who are nice to him because they owe him. I added that he's the one who's alone. I said, you'll keep all these people tethered to you by doing financial favors, but that doesn't mean they're with you. It just means you're paying them to tolerate you. If you hadn't threatened mom with financial ruin, she would be gone. My sisters would be gone if you hadn't helped them buy a house. Funny how they both still chose to live 300 miles away from you. Try for once in your life to not use your money to tie people down to you and watch how fast you find yourself alone. You have nobody, Dad. The people you think are with you just can't afford to buy their way out of your life. Name one person you have a relationship with who doesn't owe you money. You can't. And by the way, buying people to tolerate you is just as bad as being alone. I called him pathetic and a piece of crap a couple more times before I walked away. Oh wow, OP was brutal but awesome in his brutalness. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the final update that was written by OP's girlfriend. Okay, let me begin by saying that I am not the original poster. I am his girlfriend. We live together and I read the update post. My boyfriend is moving on and wasn't going to post a final update, so I asked if I could, and he said yes. Things have wrapped up. They signed a settlement agreement and now it's up to the judge to approve it. The judge won't do that for 2 more weeks, but apparently it's a formality. It's a sure thing he'll approve it, is what the attorneys say anyway. As far as the settlement, I can't really disclose much, but I can say that it's close to what my boyfriend was suing for in terms of money. His brother and the partners had transferred their houses to their wives' names in a way to protect themselves. However, those houses are in the process of being sold to pay off the settlement. The settlement also included a written apology and complete admission of guilt from all 3 of the defendants. They also have to write apology letters and retractions to all the employers that refused to hire my boyfriend based on them slandering him. I think there were 4 companies in all. All 3 of them had their license taken away and will never work as financial advisors again in any state apparently. They also will face a criminal investigation due to some forged signatures on some of the deals they made, which will lead to conviction, but probably no jail time according to the experts. Financially, they are beyond ruined, which is what I thought they deserved the whole time. I know my boyfriend regrets this whole thing, and I understand that. It's still his family, and they were close at some point. I think he's better off without them anyway, but that's easy for me to say. His parents are totally a lost cause. I don't think there will be a reconciliation in this lifetime after what's happened. I thought my boyfriend would be open to one when the dust settled, but now I don't. During the mediation hearings, his mom and dad both testified. They both lied, but I knew his crooked dad would. I was shocked that the mother lied about there having been a verbal agreement that my boyfriend would work for his brother's company in exchange for room and board at the parents' house, and that the dad had also been paying him in cash for working. She said she witnessed my boyfriend refusing payment from his brother many times. She lied about a lot of other very hurtful things while my boyfriend sat there and watched her. She never looked at him once. His dad never looked at him either, but at least he sat there the whole time after he testified to support his oldest son and his friends. His mother left the room crying after she testified. I was not shocked that she testified because the attorney said she might, but I was extremely shocked about the horrible things she said about my boyfriend. She will someday regret doing that to her son. What she did to my boyfriend is inexcusable. She really has no clue how much damage she did to her youngest son. I doubt he'll ever get over it, and I doubt he'll ever want to see her again. Not to rant about the mother, but he's the only good son she has. He's the only one who doesn't owe his dad anything. He's the only one with compassion and high morals, the only one who constantly worried about her and kept in touch with her. She messed up in the most disgusting way. How can she do that? He was there for her more than her other 3 kids put together, all for a lawsuit that she had to know they were going to lose. Her testimony did nothing to help their case, nothing. She testified for absolutely no reason. We sent Christmas gifts to my boyfriend's sister and their daughters. We received thank you cards in return. They haven't contacted my boyfriend since, but I have received a couple of hello emails from one of them. She never mentions my boyfriend or the family problems. She just says hello and asks how I'm doing. I just respond by saying we are both good and hope that they are doing well. I'm not sure where this will go, but it's a small step in what seems like will be a long road before they are allowed by their father to reconcile with their brother, or until they have the courage to do so without the dad's blessing. I think they are both too embarrassed to contact my boyfriend directly. I can sense that they are trying to find a way that will eventually lead them to him. I think they need to just contact him, but that's not my decision. I keep looking at this from my perspective, and my family is really close, so it's hard to watch what's going on with his family. I just think, what the hell, why do you do this to each other? But that's just how it is. Just to be clear, I knew very early on that my boyfriend's parents were toxic. I initially just wanted him to cut all ties with them the way they sided with the older brother. Knowing how he tried to destroy his own little brother's career told me a lot. I wished back then that my boyfriend would just disown them, but I knew that was unrealistic at the time. I knew I was emotional and I backed off when I saw how stressed my boyfriend was. But things escalated and escalated, and now I think my boyfriend's mom has dealt a death blow to any chance of reconciliation. I'm not just saying that because I'm against it. I'm not for it, and I am disgusted with her, but I can see the damage she did up close. I'm afraid he may never forgive her. She just went overboard in such a horrible way. I have been talking to my dad about this the whole time, and everything has turned out exactly how he said it would. Everybody, all parties are destroyed. It's like a bomb went off and everybody got hit. My boyfriend will recover eventually, but I don't know when. I keep thinking he will fall apart, but he has been going about his daily stuff as nothing has happened. I know he is in more pain than he is showing right now. I know that because he literally does not sleep. He just lies in bed totally awake. That is not normal for him. He is the kind of person that has a hard time waking up, not the other way around. My boyfriend doesn't hold grudges, but I don't know about this one. He is beyond hurt. Additional information from OP's comments. There is absolutely no gag order or privacy clause in the agreement. All the details will be public information anyway because they will face future lawsuits from former clients. So what they lost in this lawsuit will be public in order to determine what they have and can pay in future potential lawsuits that may come. And that's it. The brother and the partners got what's coming to them and they're gonna keep facing consequences, which is good. But unfortunately, OP took a big hit emotionally. We knew the dad was scummy, but how the mom acted was sucky, and I totally agree with OP's girlfriend on that. So all that there's left is just wish OP and his girlfriend the best in the future. Take care, the both of you. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, Go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.